Okay, if you're watching me, say hey. I can't see who it is. Hey, Lindsay. Okay, awesome. And okay, Roche. Is it Roche, or tell me how to pronounce your name? So, hey y'all. Thank you for joining me right on time. Hey, hey. I see your comments. Hey, Devin. Hey, Margaret. Yay. Okay, I'm so excited. I think you guys know I never ever really have a plan for how I'm going to start these. I just kind of see who's on and start winging it and start talking, because I get so much off of just the feedback between you guys. So I just kind of wait to see who's here and then we start talking. Anyway, while we wait to see who else signs on, thank you guys again so much for signing on at 9 o'clock. That makes me really happy. It makes me feel like a celebrity. Anyway, I bought this new little accessory for my Facebook live chat, which is a cool cell phone camera tripod, and it like bends and stuff, so you can attach it to something, and maybe if I ever wanted to do a cool angle, then I could do it, but it's not, I haven't figured it out yet, so this is my little prop for right now. Yay! Okay, so I see that there's people signed on. Thank you so much for being here. I can't tell who it is unless you say hello, so make sure you say hello. And I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I am Jen Kilborn. I created this group, the Pro Organizer Studio Girls. We call it the PO Studio Girls. It's not just girls, it's ladies and women, and there's one guy in there, so that's cool. But you guys, this group has grown a lot in the past few months, and it means the world to me that you guys are here and that you have found my videos somewhere on YouTube, or maybe came across my website. Hey Rose and hey Dawn, so glad you guys are here. So the group has grown a lot, and I just want to take a minute to tell you, and I want to take the beginning of every video to tell you guys how much I am just so appreciative of your input in the group and your questions and your attendance at these live chats. Like, it means a lot to me. And also, I want you guys to know, I mean, the group, if you've been in it for a little while now, you can tell like the pace of it has picked up a lot. Like, there's a lot of momentum. There are new people joining all the time, so there's a lot of questions and a lot of discussion, and I love it. It makes me so happy. But even I can't keep up with everything that happens like all day long. So I just want you to know that when you guys help each other, I have a bad connection. I'm going to wait to see if it gets a little bit better. 1 second. Okay, Danielle's on. Sonia's there. Callie or Kaylee, tell me how you say it. It says my connection is weak, so will you guys click like if you can hear me okay? I can always move to another spot if I have to, but hopefully that won't be the case. Okay, so I'm just going to keep talking a little bit. I want you guys to know that when you guys respond to each other and help each other with their questions, whether they're new or whether they've been in the group for a while, even though I can't always personally respond to every single question or comment, please know that I see you guys helping each other and commenting, and that means the world to me. It is awesome, and I want you to know that I see that happening, and I'm very grateful for that. Since you know, I can't keep up with it all, but also my perspective is only one opinion, and you know, there's different people who do things different ways, and I love that there's so much input into the group all the time. Okay, Kaylee says my name sounds like Kaylee. Awesome, that's what I thought it was. Okay, I see Jessica, I see Natalie, I see Debbie. Hi Debbie. And Lupita is here. Okay, Rose says you're a little blurry, but we can hear you. Okay, that's good. Sometimes the connection goes a little in and out, so I have to kind of watch for that. And thank you guys for the likes and for the hearts. I love seeing those go across the screen. Okay, so let's see. Tonight, or really, let me go ahead and acknowledge, last week, awesome superstar Lainey Brookshire came and substituted for me on the live chat, and it made my day, or really made my week. That was not really exactly planned, but I knew that I really wanted Lainey to come and give her input with you guys in some kind of real formal way, because she has offered so much of her experience to the group, and that makes it better, and it makes it more fun to get some other perspectives. So thank you, Lainey, so much for being here last week. So 2 weeks ago, I said we were going to talk about business models, so that is still my plan. That is still my plan topic for tonight, and then we'll take some other questions. If you guys can still hear me, click like, and just comment. I don't know. I'm going to try to keep the connection. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know if it's my connection or what really happens with that. So anyway, Lainey, and I have had so many good questions about, there she is. I just saw her join. So Lainey was talking to us last week, and Lainey has been a full-time professional organizer for quite some time, and that is one reason why I really wanted her to come and give her perspective to the group, because that is, I mean, she had a lot to offer from that end and how she got started and everything. By the way, I'm still holding my little prop. I probably need to put that down. So in terms of talking about business models, one thing I can tell you guys, or I'll go ahead and tell you, is that I have done professional organizing in several different capacities, meaning I have done it, kind of as a full-time day job. I have also done it as a side hustle, like work every weekend kind of thing. And then I have also done it as like a sometimes kind of thing. And I want you guys to know, and this is something that's so important to me, because I get a lot of emails and I respond to these emails and I love it. I get a lot of emails that maybe assume that I have always done this full-time, and that your goal should be like full-time entrepreneurship or nothing at all. And it's important to me to start tonight and have this topic and say that that is not the only way that there is to do this, because once you kind of get this business started, then you have something that you can mold into like a workable business model that can mesh with whatever it is you're doing right now, but also in the future, because maybe there will be a time in the future where you will be able to work more on it or work less on it, but it's something that you always have there that can make you money. So with that being kind of the premise of what how we talk about these business models, I want to kind of talk about the pros and cons of, potentially what you guys would be thinking about in terms of, like, if you're just starting your business or maybe you're growing your business. I want to hear from you guys, and if you could comment what your personal, if you're comfortable doing this, what your personal monetary goal is for your business this year. And while you guys comment about that, I just want to kind of talk about the pros and cons of doing it like as a side hustle or trying to go full time with it. So feel free to comment. I see more people have joined. Margaret, Lainey, Jessica. Lainey says, oh, hello. I think she said hello. I hope you guys can still hear me. I'm not seeing any commentary, but I see people saying like and joining. So I think we're good. All right. So if you guys will, if you're, like I said, if you're comfortable sharing what your monetary goal is for your business this year, I would love to talk to that and kind of, talk about how to make that happen. Oh, Heller, like Medea. Okay, I don't get that's over my head, girl. All right. So a lot of people, I think, are coming at the organizing business from saying that they want to leave their full-time job, like their corporate job. They're like, I'm so excited that I found out professional organizing is a thing, and now I'm going to make a plan to leave my current job. And the undertone of that I'm reading or hearing is that you're in a job that you don't like, and so therefore you want to work towards working in a job you do like. I completely 100% can relate to that sentiment, and also I'm not stopping you at all. My goal as always is to share with you what has worked for me and to help help you in terms of aiming toward high-end clients. Like, how are you going to work towards that goal in a sustainable way? So obviously this is going to be different for every single person, because what your personal like financial needs are from month to month, and also your ability to take some risk with starting a business is going to be completely different for every person. So this is one of the reasons why I am not selling the idea to you guys of quitting your job and starting a full-time professional organizing business, at least not in the way that you would think, like you can just quit and just start and you're good. Because unless you have a big safety net of your own savings, and you're also super comfortable with the idea that at least 70 to 80% of your job involves the business side. Like I'm talking about when it comes to the organizing business, 70 to 80% of your time is involved with the business side of managing clients, getting new clients, doing your networking, doing your marketing, your sales, like managing that part. So I think you really have to be prepared for doing a lot of the boring, like the computer work, the administrative work. And one thing I really believe is that is something that you can start doing a lot of while you're working in your current job. And you can book organizing sessions or take clients when you have like whatever your current availability is to meet with them one-on-one. That is pretty much, that's your availability right now for building up your clientele. So I hope that makes sense. And I gotta come back and read some of these comments before I move on to the next part of what I want to talk about. So when I talk about doing this as a side hustle, that's what I mean is you're not necessarily thinking I'm going to quit my job next month after I build my website. Like there's going to be some time where you build up your clientele, build up your network of people who know you and love you and trust you and want you to come into their house. Like you build up your reputation. So that you feel completely confident in the sales part. Like I would never, ever, ever, ever recommend anybody start any kind of business until they feel like they can walk into, for our business, any house in any neighborhood in their city and not feel like, oh my God, I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to the consultation and the sales. Because if you're not bringing in money, if you're not making money, and if you're not comfortable in the money making part of it, it doesn't matter how good of an organizer you are, because you're not going to be able to make the business part of it work together to bring you clients consistently. So learning how to do that process is something you can do on a part-time basis, and that does not in any way take away from the fact that you have a real business. I would venture to guess that a lot of the professional organizers that have been doing this a long time, and in the United States anyway, because that's where I've done the majority of my research, I bet you that a lot of them, it's not the only thing that they do, because just because of the fact that as a professional organizer, almost every single person is in like a solo entrepreneur business, and those are extremely hard to maintain consistently without either the safety net of, being married and not having to make a full second income, or you already have savings, or there's some other way that you're kind of funding your business, like either with another part-time job or what have you. So when, in terms of like when you're comparing yourself to other professional organizers, the fact that you do it on a part-time basis should not, I don't think that should take away from your confidence at all in terms of you being a real professional organizer. Ladies, to date, there is no legal, I don't know if it's going to be like this forever, but there's nothing out there. There's no required certification for calling yourself a professional organizer. If you are organizing for other people and you're getting paid, you are doing it professionally at this point in time. I don't know if that'll change. You guys are aware of like the difference between a interior designer and an interior decorator. In the future, there might be something like that for professional organizers where you have to have an actual certification to call yourself a real professional organizer. But right now, that does not exist. So take advantage of that. Okay, before I move on, I'm going to come back up to I'm going to come back up to some of the comments, so make sure I don't miss anybody here. Lindsay says she wants me making $1,000 per week. Debbie says side hustle for me, would love to bring in an extra $500 a month. Great. Roche, being able to balance school, the home, and taking on clients without being overwhelmed. That's a goal. That's a great goal. Amy, I'm currently a stay-at-home mom, so this is a full-time thing for me. Would like to make $1,000 a week. Dawn, just starting. I want to go full-time. My this year goal is to quit my job. My realistic goal for the year is to add at minimum $10,000 to my income. Okay, great for starting out. Rose, I'm with Lindsay. Full-time is my goal. Dawn, the business of owning a business. Yes, that is a big part of your work. Goldie, hi Goldie. We haven't met yet. Goldie says, newbie, want to do full-time. Found you on YouTube and your videos are such a great help. Thank you so much for saying that. It means the world to me that people are finding these on YouTube and then coming to the group. Like, it blows my mind. Okay, Courtney's here. Dawn said, you froze. Devin asked, how long did it take you to build your reputation and trust? Okay, that's a good question, Devin, and I will come back to that. All right, so, okay, so we're talking about kind of the pros and cons of thinking about taking your business full-time. And this is the part of the video where, okay, good, Dawn says I'm back. This is the part of the video where I'm going to talk a little bit more about my personal story than I have talked about in past videos, and you guys will understand why when you hear this. But a lot of you have heard my story or have mentioned or have heard me mention that when I started my business, I was kind of finalizing, like going through the final part of my divorce. I had been my ex-husband and I had owned a restaurant, so I had business ownership experience. However, I had only ever worked for like our family business, basically. I mean, since the time that I graduated college. And because I do everything backwards. I mean, so I got married young, we owned a business, like that was just, it was kind of just crazy, but it was great experience at an early age. So, so got married young, got divorced young. That's it. That is what it is. But I only worked really with our family business. And so when I was getting divorced and, getting my first career job on my own, I got a job that was an executive assistant position to the CEO of this company. Blah, blah, blah. During that time is when I really got serious about working for myself, because I felt like, okay, I have business ownership experience. I'm running this guy's business while he's off partying. I'm like, surely I can make this happen. Now, due to my extreme impatience, and this is why, I'm telling you guys, like, I can completely relate to, oh my God, Lainey, thank you. I can completely relate, like when I get these emails that are like, I want to plan my exit from my full-time job because I hate it. I can completely relate to that, and I am not knocking that at all, because I was in like really like a soul-sucking, like I cannot stay here any longer kind of position. So what I should have done, or what I was supposed to do, I put in my notice that I was going to leave that job, because like I said, it was not something I could lay low. Like, it was gonna have to be a quick exit. Okay, Rose, I see your comment. I hope that the the video feed is working for you. Dawn says, it's soul crushing. Yes, I know you're going through that same thing. So I was a little hasty about it, but I quit the job. I quit the job, or I gave him notice, but he still said, why don't he said, you must be busy right now, so why don't you go ahead and be done, which was the worst thing. So I took that time, I took the next month basically to, I had done a lot of research about professional organizing, but I kind of finalized, like really got serious or cemented like my idea of what I wanted to do. I built the website. I got my first client within I built the website and then I ran a Facebook ad. I got my first client within 3 or 4 days of when I ran that ad. And you guys know this because I say this in the free email course, but in that very first client, I made over $2,000. And y'all know I've done the package pricing from the beginning. So, I mean, for various reasons, which are not part of this story, I had the confidence to do that. And so she wrote me a check for $2,000. And, I did the job. I learned a ton. I mean, it was my very, very first client ever. And I spent that money on advertising. And it was not good advertising. I mean, it was something that I thought was smart because it was what, business advice tells you is like, oh, you're going to spend 80% of or 100% of your first year of profit on advertising, but that's how you grow and blah, blah, blah. Well, it ended up being a total waste of money. And so then I realized, even though I felt like, okay, I know how, I have an idea of how to do this and it worked, there you go. I mean, somebody made a comment today in the group about their family or their friends kind of poo-pooing the idea of somebody paying for a professional organizer. And everybody who commented back said, those people are not your clients. And that could not be more true. They can think that it's stupid all day long, but there are people who are going to pay you to do this. So that's just the end of the story. You have to get good at shutting out your friends who say that sounds crazy, because there's people who wouldn't pay over $100 for an interior designer to come to their house either, but other people do. It is a thing. Okay, Lainey says they are also not supporters. Haters, back off. Oh, Sarah asked, what kind of advertising did you try with the $2,000 that didn't work? I spent $650 on a ad in a local magazine. Okay, I'm getting a weak connection again. Can you guys hear me? Yes? No? Okay. All right. I'm getting a bad. My Facebook feed is telling me that my connection is weak, but I hope that you guys can hear me. I'm seeing the hearts come across the screen. Thank you so much. Okay, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but I want to make sure I cover this story. So, Sarah, I spent it on a local magazine advertising. And it was it was a really good opportunity. They were giving me, I spent that much on one ad, but it was a local interior, it was a home focused magazine that is only put out quarterly, so it was going to be kind of the thing that would be sent to 200,000 people, and it would sit in their houses essentially until the next issue came out, and it was this really nice quality thing. Anyway, I got one client out of that. I thought I was going to get a ton, and that was $700, and then it was just gone. I mean, it's gone. So anyway, I was digressing from my story for a second. All right, blurry and the connection is in and out. I'm so sorry, y'all. I don't know. This is where I do it every time, as y'all know. I don't ever change. So I hope it still is working. All right, so back to, somebody remind me where I was. So I was talking about advertising. Oh, I was talking about how my story started. So I ended up, it was kind of a little bit of a wake-up call, is this money can be easy to come by, but also so easy to lose. If you're spending it on the wrong things, and if you're not spending your time on the right things. Because as I've mentioned, I was in a position where I really had to make money. So I was doing this as a full-time-ish day job, but at the beginning I was also still planning I still need to be looking for another job. So I just thought, okay, I'm just going to take some time, build the website. I got a client, but then I was just thinking I'll still look for another job. But I got so obsessed with this, and I kept making sales and kept making sales, and it wasn't at first, it's not I was making $10,000 a month or anything, but I really had a good streak going, and so I was well, I'll just keep putting that off. But I was also doing keep putting off looking for a new full-time job, because I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I really wanted to do this, but I also knew like I'm not really financially in a position to be able to risk like month to month. Like I just didn't know like whether it was gonna be a good month or a bad month. Like I wasn't sure. So I never really was actually, like when I say I was doing it full time, I was doing it like as my day job for a while, but I still had other things that I was doing, like side hustling in addition to that. And I don't know if somebody's gonna ask what I was doing, but like I made a website for somebody. I was still scanning like photos and stuff for my family that I was getting paid to do. And then also, I have y'all seen like when you take like t-shirts, like all of your sorority t-shirts or all of your youth group t-shirts, and you cut them up and like make a quilt out of it? Like, so I used to do those for people too. So that's like, I don't know if that's like nerdy or like domestic goddess, but I was really into sewing, and that was just a word of mouth thing that like my stepmom kept telling people like, oh, you know, Jen will make you a t-shirt quilt, and people would send their t-shirts to me, like but they were people I knew. I wasn't really doing it. I wasn't really promoting it, but like that person would tell a friend, and then it would just kind of like snowball. So this is me. Like I was organizing during the day and then like sewing at night, and you know, also trying to figure life out with me. I mean, I was living on my own for the very first time ever. I mean, Anna had 2 children and I needed to completely provide for them, and that's an interesting way to do things. I mean, I had never lived on my own before that, so it was a really hard time in my life. And okay, Lainey says definitely domestic goddess, capitalizing off the youth group. Oh yeah. I felt like I was kind of like on this adrenaline high for several months when I first started the business, and this was in like July and August is when I started, and I was really busy all through the fall. And then in December, I thought, okay, it's going to be like super slow because it's going into the holidays, and then I'll probably be really busy in January again. But I was completely basing that off of my intuition. I didn't have any actual data to work from because I hadn't been doing it for like, and in my area, I thought like, I don't know, like I felt like I had really good word of mouth going. But basically in December, I was really depressed, to be honest with you guys. Like I was tired. I felt like I had been working. I mean, I had been working nonstop since the summer, basically, on the business. I was like really physically exhausted, and I just felt like, okay, I should take a break because I'm going through the hardest time of my life, and that was really difficult. And so in December, I didn't do anything. I mean, my kids were in school, but I was just kind of chilling out. Like I was trying to just focus on myself and focus on getting my own house kind of back to normal and everything. And sadly, I didn't take into account there's still like, it didn't really sink in with me. I am the only person, like I am completely responsible for this, for the success of this. Like I didn't have family sending me money if I didn't make sales or if I didn't have clients. So even though I had a little bit of like savings built up to where, you know, I had a couple of months of you know, living expenses saved up. After 1 month of not doing anything, and then okay, all of a sudden it's January and I didn't have like all these clients lined up, which I should have. That was all it took for me to start feeling this anxiety of it went from like being something that was really fun to do to being something that was scary as hell. And I'm not saying this to dissuade you guys from the profession at all, because it's not about the organizing. Like this is about like you being an entrepreneur full-time in your business. And if you need the money, like you really have to embrace the idea that you're going to be working constantly to build your clientele, to get your name out, even on the days when you're tired, when you're angry at somebody, when you like are filled with anxiety about the future and you feel like you cannot get off your couch. Like that was me. And because I was feeling those things, I wasn't doing the things in my business that needed to be done. And so January came around and it was like, okay, didn't suddenly have 10 people calling me. I mean, I had some clients come in. So again, I felt like I was getting by and kind of picking myself up and realizing like I could not afford to take that time away that I felt like I really needed. So in January, I started back doing what I was doing before, but I was doing it with so much more like desperation and anxiety, and I like worked myself into this frenzy where I felt like I could not slow down. Like I felt like it was not okay for me to stop to sleep, to eat, to exercise and take care of myself. It's like I would try to go to the gym because I try to be healthy, but I'm like on the elliptical, like watching YouTube videos on my phone and like reading emails and writing emails, and I just felt like I couldn't stop. Like I just could not stop myself. So eventually I realized, and then the funny thing is so I was like working like all through January and February, did not stop at all. And I suddenly had like, again, like a lot of clientele coming in, and I'm using all of the same concepts or strategies that I am sharing with you guys in the free email course. I mean, I share a lot of what I'm talking about in the free email course and in the group, but in the masterclass, like what that is about is here's the exact things that worked for me and not any of the things that didn't work, so that you could completely, like, this is like me saying, if I were to do it all over again, here's exactly how I would do it. So using those methods, like I was able to I ended up making like in a period of just a few weeks, like I think I brought in like $6,500. And so I was like making the sales, but I was also committed to me personally doing the work. I mean, which again, that was solo, like that's what I was signing up for. Like I'm a solo entrepreneur. I didn't have the funds. I didn't have the buffer built up to be able to hire somebody. Like that was the other thing, is that I was not funded in a way where I could afford to bring somebody on to help me. And so really that's what I needed, but I didn't have like that entrepreneurial, they say like if you're going to start a business, you need to have like 6 or 12 months of savings in the bank for this exact reason, is because sometimes things, you need to hire somebody, or sometimes you hit a slow period or have some kind of a setback. And I just didn't have that. And at that point I had already exhausted my extra cushion, because I basically took a month off to try to chill out and get a little bit better, just in terms of my personal stress level. But it actually made me more stressed out. And so I ended up making a whole lot of money in the spring, but I still realized, okay, I have something really good here, and I really did not want to stop doing it. But for me personally, in my life as a single mom who, again, I'm completely responsible for my 2 kids. And yeah, I mean, I will admit, like, it was finally starting to dawn on me, like, you're divorced now. Like, you don't have, like, there's not somebody who's gonna, like, just pick you up off your feet if you get tired, or if you get sick, if you can't go physically do the work that you've committed to do. So I personally made the choice that I was going to flip-flop it, and that I would finally get around to doing what I said I was going to do, which was find a new full-time job, and then I would make the organizing my side hustle, which is really, if you were following like logical advice, that's what I should have done at the beginning. But I was so impatient, and I was so eager, and I was so anxious, and I felt so like I had this high of the success of like making the sales, that I just thought, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it happen. And I'm telling you, nobody has worked as hard at anything as I did, but I still couldn't, for me personally, get past the anxiety of the money, like month to month. It's like, okay, so it's like if I have a $5,000 month, I still couldn't put that extra money towards my debt, which I was clearly in, because when you get divorced, you lose all your money. I mean, just kidding, but I was broke. And so I couldn't, like, if I had a good month, I couldn't put it towards like that my extra savings. I had to wait and then see what was going to happen the next month. And I was like, oh my God, live like that, because I can't live without, because I'm a crazy perfectionistic person, I can't live without being able to plan ahead. So once I learned that the hard way, which is how I have to learn things because I'm a nutcase, I realized, okay, I could be working a full-time job again and doing this as a side business and still making great money, like really, really good money. So that's what I did. So I don't talk about this a lot, and it's for reasons that you guys will understand, but like I have a job now. Like I have a day job that I love. I've been in it for almost 2 years, and I don't want to say anything or do anything with my side business that would take away from that. But once I started working full-time again, and it's a corporate job and it's great for me, and so I was very lucky that I was able to get that. I mean, it was the right time, right place, right people, everything. Then the organizing was a side hustle, and I worked my ass off. The whole first year that I was in the corporate job, I worked almost every weekend, made a lot of money, didn't spend anything on advertising. And now I had learned a lot because I had spent almost 9 months doing it as my main thing. And so I just took exactly what I learned from that and applied it to it being my part-time job rather than my full-time thing. And that's when the anxiety went away, and I was doing so much better at, delivering on the services that I was promising to my organizing clients. Not ever being stressed out about going on consultations, but then like naturally the people that I was working with like loved me even more and were willing to say wonderful things about me to their friends, which is really what it comes down to. So I worked a ton that very first year, and again, I would never, I don't want to paint this picture of like that being a professional organizer is an easy, cushy, or glamorous job, because honestly, it's not any of those things. Like some days it is really like physical. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that goes into it, and often like you were doing like the thankless, like, pulling crap out of people's garages. I mean, it's not always like cute. But so what I was trying to say was, I would never tell anybody that doing it as a side hustle, I am not trying to say like, oh, this is easy. But if you need the money, and if this is something that you're good at, and if you are willing to learn how to sell it to people, like this is something you could be making fabulous money from right now. Like even if you're in that job that you don't like, that you wish you weren't doing anymore, and I guess it really just comes down to how bad that you want that. Like I wanted to be out of debt. I wanted to have an outlet that was like, here's my real life business. Like this is a real business that really helps people that I am building. And I wanted to keep it going part-time, because I thought if I'm ever lucky enough to be in a situation again one day where I can do it as my full-time thing again, or when I didn't need to make like exactly so much money every single month to keep my life going, I thought, okay, if I can keep it going as a side business, then eventually I'll have it here to come back to. And that is still my plan. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you guys is I've never done it like full-time. It's never been my only thing that I have done. And I currently am not doing it full-time like that. So this year, so last year I worked like almost every weekend. I did a ton of, like, my Saturdays were in-person client sessions. And then I did a lot of my consultations I would do on weeknights, and I did a lot of DIY plans for people where I would go to their house and do the consultation and then just write them up like a personalized, here's how to do your whole house. So I did a lot of that last year, and then this year I started doing, I started offering to a few of my clients who I had been working with for a while. I started offering a like virtual organizing where I was just basically continuing to coach them and help them on a regular basis, but we would do it over email or phone or Skype or whatever, FaceTime. And that's not something I've really pushed like, I haven't pushed it a lot, like, as a service for people that I don't know, but it's something that I have been able to successfully offer with people that I do know. So really what I guess I'm trying to tell you guys is this business is something that you can mold and change and grow with and be flexible with. And depending on how hard you're willing to work it, I mean, like, this is something like you can just, what's a good metaphor for this? You know, if you're getting beat down by life right now, and if making more money would help you, like, this is a way for you to fight back, like, for you to be, like, counter punching and, like, making moves and, like, making shit happen. Like, that's how I feel. But if you are doing great right now and you just need an extra source of income, and you can just chill out and take a client here and there, that also would work, because the overhead costs are so low for doing it. And right now, I'll tell you, by the way, if you follow me on Snapchat, I love you. Thank you so much. So when I was on Snapchat last weekend or this weekend, I did a little tour around my boyfriend's house, and showed you guys that I am actually maybe going to get married to a hoarder. It's a little bit of a problem. He's not really like a psychological hoarder, but he just has never had time to clean out his stuff. And his kids are grown now. So so this year, like in 2017, my main focus, I'm not taking any new clients. I have a couple of clients who I will work with occasionally. I'm not taking any new clients so that I can focus on helping him in his house, because we are going to do some renovations, and I'm getting to kind of design and decorate a house for the first time ever, and I've always wanted to do that. So I am now doing the occasional business method rather than the busting it doing the side hustle or busting it doing the full-time business. So that's the real picture of my life right now. But I still had, like, this is the thing, is that there have been times, especially when I was side hustling in addition to my full-time job, like, which I'm not gonna lie, that was hard sometimes, but I was making such great money. And sometimes I would say to myself, like, maybe I should chill out a little bit more and not be working every Saturday. But I could not let go of this, because I just was like, people want to pay me to do this, like, and I can't walk away from that. Like, I'm not going to quit now, because I have built up this thing that is now here. Like, I have a reputation, and like, this is, like, I feel like I have a superpower, because I was able to figure out how to turn something that I was good at and that I liked into real actual money in my bank account. Like, and there's no better feeling than that, especially if you have ever been in a situation like me where, you know, when my kids were really little and my ex-husband was working in the restaurant, like, there were times where I was able to stay at home with them. I mean, I was kind of working with him from home and kind of doing marketing stuff, but there were some times where I felt like I don't feel like I'm contributing enough to my family. Even though I'm so good at so many things, I felt like I don't have, like, a thing that I can do to just walk out the door and make money. And now I feel like I have that thing, and nobody can ever take that away from me, because it's my business, and I have clients, and I have great testimonials, and it's like a thing that can continue to make me money in the future. So the reason why I'm telling you I have done it in every possible way is because there is no way that I want any of you guys to feel like a failure if you have not gone full-time in your business, or if you don't even plan to go full-time in your business. Like, you can still be a legit professional organizer making awesome money. Amen, amen. All right, let's see what Lainey's saying. Okay, Lainey says, but he is. I know she's talking about my boyfriend, John, that he is actually a semi-hoarder. I know. She said, we've seen the basement. What person could need you, Jen, and professional organizer more? I know, right? He does need me, but I need him too. We bring a lot of balance to each other. Okay, Roche. How do you say your name? Please tell me. Is it Roche or Rachel? Almost like a Rachel Roche. I don't know. Like wrote. I don't know. So I'm glad you feel like it's inspiring. I feel like, again, I haven't wanted to just talk about this too openly because the Pro Organizer Studio, okay, Roche, okay, I am saying it right. Thank you so much, girl. I feel like again, because I love my job, like I love the job that I'm in, I actually get to do web design and graphic design and marketing stuff and like helping train people. And it was during the time that I have been in this corporate job that I really, I came across, oh, that's so funny. Okay, hang on, Debbie, I'll tell you in a second. I came across somebody in my job who he had a YouTube channel and he was training people, like he had like recorded his own training on how to teach people how to use like Microsoft OneNote, like programs on your computer, like how to use your email and how to use like just this boring old software online. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that's cool. And he said, yeah, he said, I recorded like 5 videos like 3 years ago. And he's like, and I make like $1,000 a year on the advertising. And I was just like, what? And he wasn't even like really an inspiring trainer or anything. He just did it. And I just thought, oh my God, like I do not need permission. I don't need permission to do something like that. Like I could be just talking about the things that I love, which is this exact topic. I'm like, I could be sharing this with people and I don't care about really being a YouTube star, but I just thought like I cannot, I can't let go of obsessing about the business. And so I just feel like I could turn this into some sort of channel that could help other people because I don't want it to be a secret. Like I don't have enough time in the world to take all the clients in the world. Like I want to share this with other women who don't know, for one thing, that it's an option, and B, who need a little push on the business side, because that's the part I feel confident in. Like I could just go around and make sales for you guys all day long, and then you guys can go organize the people. That would be great. Okay, Debbie said, how long did you date before he revealed his basement? We hadn't been dating very long, actually. I saw his house and I was just like, oh, how nice. And we had been dating maybe, I will never forget this. We'd probably been dating like 9 or 10 months. And I think it was like my birthday, like my very first birthday that we spent together. And I said to him, I'm like, I am so happy. We have the greatest relationship. I'm like, but I will be honest with you. My biggest fear about you is that you're a hoarder. And he just like laughed his butt off. And he was like, that could not be further from the truth. And then like randomly after that, he would start like getting rid of things without telling me. And so it's like, it's his way of like impressing me he can only do it if I don't expect it. Like if I'm nagging him about a closet, he's like, you don't live here. It's not your business. But if I leave him alone, then he will clean out a drawer and make it all nice. So it's, man, I don't understand. All right. Tammy says it's never a bad idea to always have side income. And yes, Tammy, that is exactly how I feel. I feel like, they always say like, you don't know what your future self is going to want necessarily in terms of like, where do you want to live and what kind of job you want to have and how many kids do you want to have and what do you want your house to look like? Like you can't possibly know like how all that's going to go. But one thing that you do know is that in the future, you're going to want to have money and you're going to want to have options. And so I feel like that's a great reason why when I was working every weekend and I was so tired, but I was like, damn, I'm making awesome money doing this. Like I didn't want to walk away from it not at that time, because I wanted to build up savings and put it towards, I paid off my debt. I put it towards things that mattered to me. And, and I'm like not telling y'all like I made $1 million organizing other people's houses, because that is not true. But I'm just like a real person, real girl who was able to have some success with this. And I do feel like I have some sort of like the hidden secrets of people who are willing to pay you. Like if you can just get in their head and understand how they think, I feel like it's good. It's a win-win for you and for them. Lainey says, you must be expecting it all day long in that all day long down in that dungeon. I don't know, expecting what? Lainey said it looked like a horror movie in there. That's probably true. All right, Debbie says he was a good strategist. That is really true. He's way smarter than me, and that's one of the things that I love about him. And he's the one who told me, like, he brings the smart, like, business side, like the financial part. When it comes to the financial part, he doesn't understand selling. And that's another thing, going back to what was posted in the group earlier today about, like, talking to your friends or your family or your loved ones about your business idea. My own boyfriend doesn't understand what it is I'm doing. He would not pay somebody, he would never pay somebody in a million years, but he understands that there are people who will pay, and he knows that he's not my ideal client. So he doesn't say anything about the way that I brand, the way that I market. He's just like, dang, you're doing your thing. Like, people want to keep writing you checks for $1,800, $3,600. I mean, he's very impressed by that. But what he has brought to my business perspective is, are you, like, I know you, like, he'll say to me, I know you love your clients, but what is the bottom line? Like, you have to remember that it's a business and that you can't spend extra time there, beyond, like, what you have promised them and that kind of thing. And you got to minimize your expenses so that you're not wasting your money. I mean, not wasting, but, I love spending money on my business. He's like, why do you need to do that? So he helps me kind of put things in perspective. Margaret says, I wish I had you in this group when I tried to start up 4 years ago. Maybe I wouldn't be working full-time at a job when I really want to be in my own business. Sarah says, oh my God, same story for me and my man. He loses his keys almost every day. Okay, let me ask a question. Are a lot of y'all in relationships like that where opposites are attracting? And if so, please tell me, like, have you been able to successfully mesh together without being a total control freak over this person because the two of you just don't see things the same way? I mean, I'm starting to feel like that's completely normal because that's the way we are, but maybe not everybody's like that. I've never, and in all the clients that I've worked with, I've never had two clients, like two people in a couple who approach things the same way. So I'm starting to think like opposites attract is totally a real thing. Whereas I used to think like, oh no, if you're really close, then you figure out one way to do things that is the same. And now I don't feel that way. I feel like you really have to learn how to coexist with somebody who just is never going to understand your point of view. This might be getting off topic, but I love thinking about relationships. All right, Lainey says 1,000,000% yes, we're opposites. Define successfully. Yeah, no, I don't know what successful is. Roche says, ha ha ha, it's normal. Okay, good. Amy says, my husband and I are very much alike. We both love to be organized. That's a good thing. Ashley says, opposites attract in this house. Yep. Sarah says, yes, we balance each other. He helps me relax and not stress about silly things, and I help him get his shit together. Oh, yeah, that totally describes me and my boyfriend, too. Okay, back up. Amy said, in the beginning, were you ever in a sales situation where your price was too high, but you really needed the work or really wanted it, so you came down on price? No, not in the way that you're phrasing the question. I have never been on a consultation. I have never gone to a consultation and not made a sale. Now, whether or not those people bought less than they would have otherwise, I'm not really sure. But I've also been able to successfully resell them or have them purchase another package when we were done. If we weren't done with the job to the extent that they wanted to, then once, like, okay, I'm not saying this very well. Like, let's say that they really needed a session of, they needed 12 sessions, but they only bought 4 because they really liked me and wanted me to do it, but they really didn't feel like they could buy all 12 at the same time. And I'm just being hypothetical because people don't always tell you what they're thinking anyway. So even though I knew she had a bigger job than 4 sessions and she knew she had a bigger job than 4 sessions, she went ahead and bought the 4 sessions, but then we got so much done together and she saw how quickly I was able to work. And I would say one of the really defining things about me is that I am extremely fast, especially if they will let me do my thing on my own. Lainey talks about this, like that is the magic. That is the best situation to be in. So once she sees how much we're able to get done and how much momentum, like positive momentum it builds in her house, she's like, okay, let's do another 4 or whatever. So I've been able to successfully get them to buy more if they didn't really buy enough at the beginning, but I've never actually come down on my price. And one reason why I think that I've never been in that situation is because I have always posted my prices on my website. I really believe in that. I don't make people call me to ask me how much it costs because I feel like that deters them from, like, I feel like if you give them the information, then they can on their own decide whether or not that's something that they want to learn more about or not. Like, whereas if you make them work for the information, that just becomes another reason for them to not call you at all in the first place. So I think one reason why I've been very successful in my consultations and my sales is because I have more or less screened out or given people enough information so that they're not going to have me come all the way to their house and then go, oh, your price is too high. Like, they will know it because I talk to them on the phone before I ever go over there too. So I am confirming or ensuring like they have my information or brochure. I used to have it as like a downloadable brochure, and now I just have it posted on the website. Like, it's very easy. All right, I see a lot of questions coming in. Okay, Rose says, I also dated a hoarder for almost 2 years, quote unquote, so he wasn't like diagnosed crazy, right? She says, we're still friends and it drives me up the wall going to his place and seeing how he lives. I actually organized his kitchen and bathrooms twice since I've known him. Yep. So side note, I have a really strict policy of not organizing his stuff. Because I feel like I don't want to be, like, it's not my territory, and he didn't ask me. Like, if he doesn't ask me, then I'm not going to do it. But at one point I did, I would kind of gently suggest, like, I would love cooking at your house so much more if I could, find the stuff that I need in your spice cabinet. And then like a few days later, it would magically be done. So yeah, that's not really something you can do with a true hoarder, but John is just more of the lazy type, and he uses this, like I said, he uses this to like impress me. It's kind of a weird thing. And once he organizes an area, he really likes it to stay that way, but he just doesn't think to like do this thing on his own for his own pleasure. Okay, Lindsay says, my husband and I are both fairly organized. I definitely take it to a whole new level though. He is opposite from me in many other ways. Yes. Okay, Tammy says, my husband was very disorganized, but after 14 years of marriage, my habits have rubbed off for the most part. Okay, that is very, that gives me a lot of hope. That's good. Dawn says, it's just me here, but my kid is a slob. My kids, I have 2, and one of them is like a mini hoarder. Like, she wants to keep every little thing that she has ever gotten at school. And then my other child is like, if I say, hey, let's get rid of some of your stuff, or like, I always say, let's give this to somebody else, like somebody who needs it. And he just says, okay, like, not a big deal to him. Becky says, my husband is a collector and he is messy. However, he always seems to know where to find things. So that's a good thing. It's kind of like a mad scientist or something, right? Okay, Amy says, she was asking her question because she had a realtor refer her to a client. The client's father passed away and needs help cleaning out the house. I don't know if this client is a higher end client, so when I speak to her, I'm not sure what to expect. In that situation, I would have the realtor forward her your website or packet of information or something if you don't have a website up yet, so that the client is aware of like what it is you do. And I guess, Amy, like, I know you're still getting started. So maybe in this case, you would want to kind of work with that person one-on-one to come up with some pricing that they could agree on. But I think that once you have like launched your business and you're established and you have pricing, like, I would not change your pricing. I would spend that time that you could be spending with that client and focus on getting to the right clients. Like, that has to be your number one, like, driving force. Like, when you're thinking about anything other than like you're either doing a job or you're thinking about how to get more jobs. Like, more jobs that you want, not just any job. Okay, Debbie says, how far do you and others, please chime in too, travel for the free consult? I know it will likely be an individual thing. Debbie, I live in a city, I live in it's Greenville, South Carolina. It's not huge. It's not like, but I'm kind of like right between Atlanta and Charlotte. And so I'm like right in between, and next to Greenville is another like smaller, but also a medium-sized city, Spartanburg. And Spartanburg is about 40 minute drive for me. And I include that area in my service area where I don't charge any extra travel fee or any kind of consultation fee. I will drive all the way to Spartanburg after work if I have to do a consultation. Again, I am really generous with my consultation time and effort because, again, I have always walked away with money. So that is something I feel really like that is my biggest confidence thing is like, get me in their house and I can like convert this person into a believer. Like, they are just like, okay, come do it. Like, I want you, like, here's the money, like, let's just commit. I have also traveled about the same distance the opposite way, but those cities are kind of like smaller and more scattered. So there's just not as much, I guess there's not as many people that are a pull there, but I have gotten so much of my business in Spartanburg, which is not the city that I actually live in. And I think it's because there are fewer, there's fewer choices overall. Like, I had a listing on Find My Organizer for a long time. I have not had it up for a while now because I've kind of stopped taking new clients that I didn't know, like through a referral or through a friend. What was I saying? I had the listing on Find My Organizer, and I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought there. Remind me what I was saying. So I traveled to Spartanburg, and I've gotten half of my business there. Oh, because there's nobody else really. Like, I'm not saying there's nobody else, but I know that I was able to stand out from my competition in these two areas. So, like, I guess in the Spartanburg area, they know that they have to kind of look at Greenville because that's where a lot of their, like, they know that if they're going to go to a big mall, they're going to travel to Greenville. So they know probably that if they're going to look for something like a professional organizer, that they should also look in Greenville. And because in my listing, I post, like, I travel to Spartanburg, they're just like, oh, okay, this is perfect. And then I've really built up like a network of people there too who have referred me. So really my business area, I wouldn't say it's humongous huge, but I would say 45 minutes drive. I'll drive one way 45 minutes without thinking like I wouldn't think that that's an issue. All right. Okay. Oh, Lainey says, most of our clients are not going to work for the prices. They are disorganized. This is what she's talking about. If a client has even taken the time to get on your website, and I'll come back to what I mean about that in a second, they are browsing quickly. They're easily distracted. They're not going to sit there and read every word. Like, they just want to be like, can you come to my house? Like, they're looking at you and thinking like, do you look legitimate? Do you look legitimate? Do you look friendly? Do you look like you like have your own like website put together and that you know what you're doing? Is your website disorganized? Because that would be a huge red flag. Other than that, they're just like, you know, how much does it cost? Is it in my price range? Is this something I can justify? Like, remember, like, most of these people are shopping addicts. Like, they love spending money. They have no issue spending money. They just want to see that you are competent at what you're doing, and that's how they're going to justify it to themselves. Like, this person is going to help me, relieve me of so much stress and anxiety. I mean, it really depends on their situation, what they're going through, but they know what they want. Like, they know what they're doing. Like, they know that they are not going to do it on their own. So if you are like anywhere in the price range of, you know, normal, then they're going to call you. And if you stand out from your competition, they're going to call you. So Lainey is saying, if you put on your website, or if you have this fabulous website, but you're like, please submit an inquiry and I will get back to you in 48 business hours to talk to you about your job, and you don't even have your prices posted, they're just going to be like, I'll move to somebody who's easier. They want it to be easy. Okay. Amy says, that makes sense. This client has not seen my website. Okay. Amy, make sure that you post your website, because off the top of my head, I don't think I've seen it yet. And I want to make sure that I see everything that you guys are working on. All right. Rose is laughing out loud. She said, I did the exact same thing. I told him it would be nice to be able to cook at his house. Yes. Aren't we subtle? Like, aren't we cute when we say things like that? He finally let me into the kitchen and was so happy with the result. He actually kept it up until he moved out. I then organized his new kitchen as a paid job. Are you serious? He paid you? Like, after y'all broke up? Or, yeah? No, I think that's what I'm understanding. Okay, Dawn says her daughter is always collecting stuff too. I am totally prepared for the fact that my OCD is either gonna like skip one of them entirely, and she's gonna be all like, I don't know. I hope that I'm not damaging my children. Okay, my husband, Miral says, my husband keeps urging me to write a book, how I transform my husband to an OCD. Yeah, that's hilarious. So Miral, are you saying that he used to be like really easygoing and now he is neurotic about his stuff in his house? Okay, Rose says, Spartanburg, have you seen Shag the movie? I know this is completely off topic, but I've always wanted to go to Myrtle Beach in Spartanburg because of that movie. Oh, that's hilarious. No, I've never seen that. But I live right here. So that's really funny. I'll have to look that up. I'm assuming it's about like dancing, shag dancing, which is awesome. Okay, Becky says, would you recommend shadowing a professional organizer? I am only just beginning to become interested in the field. That is a great question. I never thought to do that. I don't know. I've had several people ask me to do that. And I have always said no. The reason why is like, and I have had lunch with girls who have talked to me, I mean, women who have talked to me who are like, I'm just really interested in what it is you're doing. I mean, they weren't like asking me to hire them or anything, but I'm like, oh yeah, like let's get together, like let's have coffee, let's have lunch, or just like let's just talk about it. And I always say like basically the same thing that I've been telling you guys. Like I've been telling other women this for like years now. Like you could totally just start this business. Like you could do it as a side thing. You could do it after work. Like you're working right now. Like you could do it on the weekends. Yeah, like I am a never ending source of ideas, but almost all of them are just like, oh, like I don't really want to start my own business. I just want to get paid to, organize people sometimes. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I don't know. My business model is not working with other people. Like I know that there are a lot of people who have a partner, which I think would be fabulous. Or there are, I've certainly seen like organizing, professional organizing companies that have like a huge team, like 10 people who will go and, do these big jobs together, or they have like a lot of like, I guess they're getting a lot of smaller jobs that they're able to send like 1 or 2 people out. That strikes me more as like running like a cleaning company. And that would be a whole nother level of like business that I would have no idea like how to even do that. I mean, I think I'm like, how do you hire those people? Like, how do you guarantee them an income? I don't know. But my main thing though is that I feel like the work that I do with people is so personal. It's hard for me to think about like how I would even have somebody shadow me, because obviously you'd want to like let them kind of get in there and help, but it'd be just hard to it'd be hard to manage that. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it in the future. So when it comes to what you're asking, I think that you really want to find somebody who maybe at first I would just ask them if you could. I think it would be very nice if you offer to buy them lunch and say, like, I'd love for you to just talk to me about your business, and just have them talk to you. Because the issue is that when you're talking with somebody local, you're really talking about becoming their competition. So they're not like, they don't have a high motivation for like sharing their secrets with you or to train you just out of the good of their heart, which is another reason why I want to talk to you guys, because I have no like issue with you guys being more successful than me all over the country, or if somebody joins my group who lives in my area, like, go for it, because I can't physically do all the jobs in the world, but I want to help you guys make money. Like, I really want to do that. All right, I know I just answered 7 questions, but Becky, hang out with us and learn everything from us. And then if you come across an organizer who is willing to do that with you, just do it, but be careful, because you want to build a relationship, but then like not, I don't know how you have to deal with like the competition thing afterwards. So let me know how it goes. Okay. All right. Debbie said, great. Thank you. Swan is here. Hi, Swan. Roche says, do you come up with a detailed plan of action at the consultation before the client hires you? Not exactly. I sometimes, I didn't used to do this at first, but I sometimes will have them just send me a few pictures of their space, so that when we're talking on the phone before the consultation, I kind of have an idea of what it is we're talking about. But when I go to the consultation, like in person, is when I really can take in, like, okay, here is the real deal. Here's how much stuff there is. All the rooms that kind of need to be taken into account, and they'll really kind of talk me through what their personal goals are and like what their schedule is. Like, I mean, if they're moving, there's like really like a timeline that has to be followed. But if they're not moving, then it's a little more easygoing and we can kind of be more flexible. So I will write up like a general plan after the consultation. So no, I wouldn't do it unless somebody had paid me to, engage me on the project. So I'd write up the plan after that and kind of, provide that to her, so she would know, here's how I think that this needs to go. Like, here's the order in which I think we need to do things. And I'm not really breaking it down like too detailed, like day by day, here's what we're going to do, here's what we're going to do, because generally I find that even when you come up with like this immaculate plan, that things come up, or when you get there that day for the job, like you're often kind of dealing with like, what is her energy level? What is she kind of thinking? Like, I mean, ultimately I feel like my client, like, I can suggest things, but she still has to she has to ultimately have the say in the direction of like how things are going to go. Because say at the last minute she's like, oh, I'm going to have guests coming in this weekend, so we really need to get like our guest room in much better shape and move stuff out because I'm using it as an office, like that kind of thing that comes up, that you just think, okay, we're just going to have to be flexible and allow for kind of your intuition with the project. I have a general, for me personally, I have a general whole house order that I personally think we should do if there is no other, like if there's not a timeline for moving, or if there's no other urgency in the project. I kind of have things broken down like into areas, like here's what we need to do first, here's what we need to do second, like to do like basically a whole home thing. nobody ever wants to do what I want to do, but that's okay. Like I kind of like, we start with some things that I think are most important first, but then she'll generally say like, I'm so sorry, but I'm just so anxious to start working on, you know, the bonus room because my kids are going to be home over the summer, like that kind of thing. So just, you know, things just come up, and I'm really flexible with my clients because I want them to know that I care about them. Like I love organizing, but I want them to be happy, and I want them to feel satisfaction at the end of every session that we have done something that is making progress on her goals. Okay. Kaylee says, how many clients did you take before you stopped accepting new ones? That is a great question, because I worked with Kaylee. I don't know if you heard the whole my whole spiel at the beginning of this video, but I don't have an exact number. Like I said, I did 9 months of more or less full-time day job type of organizing. And then I did a year, about a year of like all the time on the weekends, and now I don't really take a lot of new clients. I will come up with a number for you. I'll have to go back and look. A lot of especially when my year that I was doing a lot of side hustle weekends, like it was a lot of the same clients, but just over and over and over again, because they bought a package. And for example, I had somebody buy my biggest package of, this is my this is like a 24 session package. So this cost her $3,600, like at my biggest package price was $3,600. I got that client right before I started working full-time again in my corporate job. So we actually did about half of her package like all at once. Like we did 12 sessions over like a week or 2 weeks, and then she used the other half of the package, and I came back once a month for the next year. So that was how that played out. So like that right there was already one Saturday out of every month that I had one client, and I didn't actually work every single Saturday in that year. So, so we're not talking about like, I mean, in terms of hours, you know, we're not talking about hundreds of different clients. Like I had a lot of the same clients that spent a lot of hours together. Okay, Natalie says, I feel so bad, but my video is not working. Okay, thank you so much for being here for the part that you were, Natalie. Appreciate you. Okay, Daniel says, I know this is a bit off topic, but I know you do not include supplies in your pricing. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Currently, hang on, y'all. I'm going to get some more water. Take a break if you need to. All right. Okay, this is interesting. All right, Danielle says, this is a bit off topic, but I know you do not include supplies in your pricing. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Currently, my rate is $50 an hour, and I have packages for larger sessions. I have been talking with a friend of a friend who is a business consultant and is my ideal client, a very high-end client. He said that he's put off by the separate charge for supplies. He thinks that people will want to consult and then quote, including supplies and services, just one price like you would. Danielle, the rest of your comment cut off for me. I'm so sorry, but I think I understand what you're asking. And this is interesting because I don't know if I like this because, and you guys can comment on what you think, especially if you've been organizing for a while or even if you haven't. But the reason why I don't like that is because you don't know when you start the project what you're going to need to have to use. Like, because the way I do it is, you know, my packages are all inclusive in terms of my shopping time, the research, like the design ideas that I come up with them. Like I do all that as like my administrative work, but supplies are like really different for every single person. So I will buy stuff, like I will often buy more or like buy different types of things, like just to see what she likes, like Does she want these acrylic boxes, or does she want these like nice like fancy metal ones? Like, I'll buy a couple of different options, and then I'll return what we don't need. And then another thing that happens is that a lot of times, I mean, I'm telling you guys all the time, my clients already have at least some organizing supplies because they like to buy anything. Like, they just shop all the time, and so like they'll buy organizing supplies because they'll tell themselves, I'm gonna get organized. And so like they already have like all kinds of jewelry trees, ring holders, like bracelet organizers, and but they just don't know how to use them. Like, they need to get rid of half their stuff first. But anyway, that was kind of digressing off the topic. So I think it's really hard. Like, I think that he would be a rare person to be put off by not including the supplies, because like you just can't know like what they're going to end up wanting or needing or using. So that is really interesting. I have to think about that some more. And you know what, like, if he's an ideal client, like if you know he's going to add to your business and he's going to give you great referrals and make you look good and be good for you. Like, if you're positive about that and he wants you to quote him for supplies, and I mean, just make sure like that you're quoting him an additional cost for the supplies. Like, I do not include the supplies in my price. Like, it's going to cost them more, like if they want to buy stuff. Like, I will do the shopping included, and you could like do some of the research for him, like about what he might want included, but like you just can't possibly know exactly to the dollar like what he's going to need. So let me know what you decide on that, because I would like to know what else he says. Okay, Amy says she hasn't posted her website yet because she's nervous. Don't be nervous, girl. Just put it out there. We will all tell you how wonderful it is, and we will give you feedback if you want it. Okay, Sonia says, hi Jen, I hope this question is not part of your paid course, but I was wondering, how do you sell yourself once you're in their home? What do you even say to convince them that you are the best person for them? Okay, Sonia, yes, this is a major part of my paid course, but I will tell you that one of the secrets is to not try. Don't try so hard to convince them that you're the best person. Like, they are more likely to buy your services and to choose you essentially from other people because they like you as a person. It does not have anything to do with how long you have been organizing, what kind of certifications you have. Like, they don't care about any of that. Like, they care about how you make them feel when you are in their home touching their stuff. Like, do you seem like a trustworthy person? Do you seem like a non-judgmental, confidential person? Or do you seem like somebody who, I mean, any other number of things could be negatives. I mean, but it really is about selling based on your relationship and your bond with that person, and not so much about what you say to convince them. Love it. All right, Jennifer says, I have a tendency to want to know everything for every situation. When is enough knowledge enough? Okay, I can relate to this so much, because I used to be a lot more like this. Now, Jennifer, I'm not 100% sure what you're referencing, but I'll just say in general that oh my gosh, I saw this awesome quote today that said, like, learning, you need to learn, this is talking about like job skills and stuff. You need to learn things just in time, not just in case. You don't need to be prepared for every worst case scenario. You need to be flexible and be adaptable and learn things when you need to. Like, don't feel like you can't possibly be prepared for every question a client will throw at you, or to be ready to like spout off the top of your head exactly down to the letter what you're going to do in their house when you go to the consultation. You are allowed to say, I'm going to think on this, I'm going to do some research on this, we're going to figure out what the best thing is for your house. Like, they are not expecting, I mean, if you're talking about in terms of knowing everything that a client is going to want and need to know from you, like, you do not need to do that. Now, on the business side, if you're talking about the business side, and maybe I'm gonna scroll down and see if you're commenting, because I might be. Oh my God, there's so many comments. Okay, Swan likes my quote that I just threw out there. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm going so slow, but I need to get back. I need to make sure I'm not missing y'all's questions. Okay, Jennifer. Okay, all right, Jennifer. Let me know if that answered you. Mural said her husband used to be low key and now he's not. Nicely done. Hopefully that's working for you and not against you. All right, can you guys still hear me? Can you give me a thumbs up? My connection is saying it's weak again. Okay, Rose says that her ex-boyfriend paid her to organize his kitchen after they broke up. That is insanity. She said, like I said, we've remained friends. I babysat for his cat one weekend while he was out of town, and I told him I could take advantage of being at his house to organize his kitchen. He said, okay, but I'd really like to pay you for that. That is amazing. That is amazing. All right. Oh, Jennifer said more towards strategies and ideas before actually starting my business. Okay. Yeah. Jennifer, I think just like hanging out in the group will give you a lot of good information, because I know a lot of people are asking the same questions that you are because they're starting out. All right, Lainey says, I have had many people ask as well, and she's talking about having people shadow her. She said she's always said no. I'll be happy to have coffee with them. It would take a very, very, very special person for me to say yes. Currently, I'm 10,000% decided on no for anyone that asks, unless the angels come down from heaven and sing behind that person. That's how I feel too. All right, Ashley says, the business aspect of this whole thing is difficult for me. If I'm not good at the business side of it, can I get good at it? Will it ever click for me? I'm good at the job, but crappy at knowing how to run it all. All right. Good to know that you feel that way. That's an interesting way of putting it, though. Like, yes, I think that you can get better at it. I think that knowing, just being able to like see the big picture and having it all laid out is really helpful. But like success breeds success. So once you have the confidence of making one sale, you're like, okay, how can I repeat that with the next person? So in terms of like bringing in money, and I keep hammering this home, guys, is like you have to be focused on bringing in cash and making the sale, because you can't do anything else that you want to do in your business if you don't have the cash flow coming in. So like all of the other problems that you could solve, like buying insurance or doing the right website or whatever, like all of that like takes money. Like you have to have money coming in. And so I think that Ashley, if you can nail the sales process, then you'll start to feel like the rest of the business stuff is coming together, because say you're really bad at accounting, you can't hire an accountant until you have money to pay them. So like making money solves a lot of those problems. Becky said, I'd love to observe some of the parts of the process in action, the consultation, for example. Ooh, how could we do that? That's a great idea. Roche, thank you so much for answering that question. Lainey says, Danielle, I bring tons of supplies and try out about 3 different organizers in each space and see what works best. I can stay within a budget, but I don't quote the job. It is in their best interest that I don't quote it. That makes sense. Danielle said, thank you. And sorry, y'all, I'm so sorry I'm talking so fast. I just want to make sure I get caught up and don't leave anybody out. Lainey said, Danielle, you're not selling a new roof, though. You're providing a service to go through his home, his most personal items. You have no resource in the world that equips you enough, that equips you for every single client enough to quote an entire job. That is so true. And yeah, so true. Mural says, I just told my client that I'll handle buying the supplies and returning anything that doesn't work, and told her I spend between $250 to $450 in supplies and decorative accents for the pantries. I also told her if she has a budget she'd like to go by, to let me know, and I'll try my best to accommodate. I was scared that she was going to say no, but she said that was fine. See? All right. Okay, Lainey said, Danielle, the longer you work with the client, the sweeter your supplies get. You are able to come back and tweak previous spaces at your next session. A lot of the creative concept happens on the job. Yeah, that's totally true. Debbie says interior designers don't include the products in their cost either. Definitely. Swan says true. I shop in their homes first for supplies. That has been my experience with almost everybody. Lainey says she's never had a client ask her something like quoting the entire job with the supplies in 6 years. I haven't either. I don't think you'll come across that often. Like Jen said, if he is an ideal client, pop it up to $100 an hour and provide what he needs. Yes, ma'am. Swan said, okay, great. Okay, Danielle said, maybe I should mention that this is a whole home job. So my team, subcontractors, and I come in and organize the entire house in 2 weeks. The client is not involved in the organizing process other than an extensive consultation, and then we set aside 30 minutes to an hour each day for them to go through specific piles that we have gathered of things we have questions about. Well, first of all, that sounds like a dream come true. You get to do it on your own without them, and you have people helping you, which is fabulous. So I can understand why he would want the quote for the supplies. However, is it like really, I still, I'm gonna have to like wrap my brain around that. I just have to like think about it some more, because you're right. Like you don't want to turn him off just because you can't. But I like what Lainey said. Like maybe just like throw him out a number and see if that works. And then, I mean, what is he saying? Like he absolutely will not let you add on afterwards. Like if it ends up being more, like would that be a compromise? Okay, Dawn says she's got to go to sleep now. Thank you so much for being here, Dawn. Danielle said, I also totally agree with you guys, but just want to hear your thoughts. That's exactly how I do it now. I give a range and ask if they have a certain budget. That's perfect. And thank you, Danielle. And Danielle, we have to talk more since you have experience with having subcontractors come and help you with the business. That is fabulous. We would love to know more about that. Lainey says, Danielle, yes, that does change things a bit. There's got to be a strategy to this. Experience and lots of Googling. Pricing will help you here. Also start to identify your favorite products at main stores. That's definitely true. That is what helps you get like fast at the shopping part, the supplies part, like because you can't spend tons of hours on every single client. Like you have to batch them together when you can. I mean, even if you're doing this as just a side business and you don't have more than one client at a time, like you go shopping for your client while you're out doing your own shopping. Like just like, you know, y'all are organized. Like you can do this. Like you put it all on one list and boom, boom, boom. Like you have the things that you need by the next time you go back to their house. Oh, Lainey mentioned online shopping, which I think is awesome too. Jennifer says, thanks so much. I love this group and we love you. Thank you for being here. Lainey said, hour and a half alert. And Facebook hadn't kicked me off yet. All right, y'all are having this awesome conversation without me, but I'm glad I'm catching up on it. Lainey, I feel really, okay, Danielle says, I feel really comfortable quoting the products. I'm just curious if you have had clients that didn't want to deal with the extra cost and just wanted to know their total investment. Yeah, and that exact thought process is why I so believe in the package pricing, because it is one decision to make for them. It's not a whole set of decisions that has to be made and remade and remade and remade. It's just like, boom, one price. I talk about this a lot in the masterclass about pricing. Lainey says, I totally respect the client who wants to know all the details because it would be me too. You have a fabulous service. Can't wait to hear about your team. Yes, Danielle, how did you find the girls who work for you? Assuming that they're girls. We want to know that. Did they come out of the heavens and were there actual angels singing behind them? Like Lainey said, because that was her primary way to measure whether they were correct for her business. Okay, Lainey says, yes, my errands get done at the same time as mine. And Debbie says she loves the live formats. I love it too, y'all. When I started doing this, as y'all know, I was like talking to myself and Lainey, and now I'm talking to, I think we had a high of like 22 people on here tonight, and then people will watch it back and comment on it all week long. And it's like this gift that keeps on giving. It is so wonderful. It sparks so much conversation. Having Lainey do it last week was the best thing that had ever happened because we had somebody new. And Lainey and I don't even agree on everything. Isn't that funny? I mean, she has been doing her business longer and in different ways than I have, and she has come to different conclusions. It's good to have different perspectives, and that I think adds to the group. Like, I don't need to be the only one talking to you guys, but I'm just sharing with y'all what has worked for me in terms of like, you know, like if you were like me, if you know what you want to make money, like the kind of clients that you feel comfortable working for, you just want to go for it, like my experience will be valuable to you in some way. I want to guarantee you that. Danielle says she'll post in the group a little bit about her experience with subcontractors. Awesome. All right. Lainey says sometimes the feed gets kind of screwed up. Oh, I have a random thing to tell y'all since I'm caught up on the comments for just the time being. I was thinking about this earlier today, and yes, we are a super team. You know it. At one time, I actually went through, and you guys know, or I hope that y'all who are watching right now, you know, I do not have anything against the National Association of Professional Organizers, aka NAPO. I don't have anything against them. And when I started, that was another thing that I spent my money on, which was a NAPO membership. I don't know why. Like, I felt like I had to do it because they're targeting us because we are perfectionists. We are perfectionists. So they're like, well, you really should have this membership. It's not completely required. And we're all like, okay, like, where can I pay my money? You know, but you don't have to. And I'm a rule breaker. Like, you guys, I think, can probably tell that about me. I am perfectionistic, and I'm very organized, and I'm very OCD, but I also do not like rules that don't make sense. And if I don't have to do it, and if I can be successful and go around it, that is what I'm going to do every single time. But at one time, Lainey's saying the same thing. They make you feel like you have to. At one time, I went through and actually added up, and I'll do this again because this was a while back. I went through and added up the cost of everything. Like, because when people first hear about professional organizing, that is a thing, unfortunately, they don't come to my group first. They go and research NAPO's website that has about 20 million steps for you to become a professional organizer the right way. And they say that all these things are not required, but it's, suggested. And as you guys know, there's a lot of us who feel very perfectionistic about doing all the things, because if somebody says that this is what you have to do, then you feel like that's what you have to do. And so at one point I went through and actually added up the cost of everything that they say that you really should do first before you start, before you even start your business. So this would be the NAPO membership, the classes that are only sold by NAPO, the business insurance, the website, the business cards, like everything, like, buying your little, kit so you have all of your supplies before you even get started. And it actually occurred to me because, and this is really funny, because I used to, not that I participated because I'm a total lurker in other forums and other groups except for this one. But I would read like the beginner forums on the NAPO. Like, once you're a NAPO member, you can read the forums, and everybody in there is like, do you have a client intake form? Like, how do you do this? Or like, does anybody have one that they can share? And there are people who are really helpful, but there's a lot of discussion about, okay, so you're new, so you want to hear people, and Lainey, help me remember this because it's been so long ago now. NAPO doesn't let you talk about your pricing with other members, or no? Because I remember there really being a sentiment of okay, well, you need to start at the bottom and work your way up to your competitors' levels, because these other women, the certified ones, have been doing it a lot longer than you, so you can't possibly charge higher than they do. And this is really interesting to me because what with the $3,000 or whatever dollars, $2,000 that they suggest that you spend. Okay, she says no pricing talk at all as it is against the code of ethics. Okay, that's why I'm not in there anymore. So I can talk about it, I guess, all I want. I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Nobody has knocked at my door yet and said that I was not allowed to discuss this. But I remember there being a sentiment of, you really need to buy, you need to do all these things if you want to invest in yourself. And something I was thinking about was like, okay, so to even start your business, they would have you spend thousands of dollars with them. And then they want you to start like at the lowest level and work your way up. And I'm like, well, that sounds like a business for people who already have money, not people who need to make money. And the way that I did it was somebody who needs to make money. Like, you guys are not learning from somebody who was like already rich and looking for something to do because they're bored all day. Because that to me is what it sounds like they're suggesting, is that you just take the extra $2,500 that you didn't have anything else that you wanted to spend it on, send it to NAPO, and then you could start your business. And I'm telling you guys, and this is why I made that free email course, is you don't have to spend anything to start your business. At least not until that day when they say you can't just call yourself a professional organizer. Anyway, my only point was, it's so interesting that, their sort of business model is you spend a whole bunch of money with them, and then that gives you, the permission, I guess, that you feel like you need in order to go out there and start. You start at the bottom, start charging $25 an hour. Like, I've never heard really any of them, obviously, since Lainey says it's against their code to talk about pricing. Like, I figured out my pricing by reading literally hundreds of other professional organizers' websites and kind of comparing it to like other businesses that I wanted to emulate. And I'm like, well, I don't have time to like, I don't have time to charge $25 an hour and work my way up. Like, I need clients who are committed to me, and I need people who want, like, who really are invested in their success. And that makes all the difference in whether or not you do this job and then burn out, or you do this job and feel invigorated because you're actually helping people. Like, I don't want to work with people. I mean, like, I am so happy there are people who will work with clients who have severe hoarding issues, and who can understand the psychology behind that. Like, I know, like, that I don't have that special, qualification or certification that I need to be able to effectively do that. But I can work with women who are just a hot mess, right? And if they're willing to pay me, I am in business, and I have a business. All right. Okay. Lainey said, I think you can discuss it at a non-NAPO event, but it's still frowned upon. Yes, they really suggest you have to earn the price point. Lainey said, I already called the NAPO police on you today. Thanks. They're organizing a crew and coming for you. Lainey says they offer great structure, but they are the same as everyone else sitting next to you at NAPO. There's so much more individuality and creativity to your business when it is a direct product of you. Yes, 1000% agree. Lainey said, no one should be charging $25 an hour. This job is so personalized, labor intensive, and emotionally draining at times. You are worth much more than $25 an hour for this service. Lisa said, I needed to hear that NAPO discussion. Well, I think you tuned in right at the right time. I have talked about that before. And there is, I will say, what are the pros? Because I try to be balanced in my opinions and judgments. Like, when you become a member, then you can put their logo on your website. Like, do I think that adds some credibility? I guess so. I don't know. Like, if it makes you feel more confident, that is great. But I don't think that 99% of the people who are actually going to hire you care at all, like, what that means. I mean, because it doesn't mean anything. Like, it means you paid $250 or whatever for your membership. It's like, it's not a real thing. My connection is weak again. Can you guys hear? Can you guys hear? Lainey says, no, it's ugly and takes away from your site brand look. The NAPO logo. That's hilarious. Well, right. Yes. Well, I feel that way too, but it's okay. It's okay. If people want it, like, I don't worry about that. The logo looks like a nursing home sign. Are you just sitting there clicking like a million times, Lainey Brookshire? I know you are. Okay, do you guys have any other last minute questions for tonight? Roche says it really is ugly and I want to take it off of mine. Well, I'll just tell you guys. Oh, I have one more interesting comment for you guys. I have had multiple clients who don't use the internet at all. Like, they literally, they know that it exists. They know what a website is, but they don't do that. Like, my client who bought my biggest package ever, she read my I had an article in like a upstate, like my state's parenting magazine, about me and my business, and she was reading that while she was on the treadmill one day, and I guess at the end of the article it listed my phone number and my website. She called my phone number, asked me to come for a consultation. I mean, we talked. She asked me to come for a consultation. I showed up. We had the consultation. She bought my biggest package, and that was the end of the story. And I was like, oh, so did you go on my website, blah, blah, blah? And she's like, no, I don't really do that. I don't really do the internet. And like half the time that I was at her house, and she worked from home, so like we were really organizing like her office and everything. Like, a lot of what her problem in her home was the fact that she refused to like digitize her papers and use the internet instead of printing out every single thing. But like, look, that to her was like, this is the way I am. And so you kind of have to work with people like where they are. Like, you can't force people into the modern world. Like, there's still a lot of people operating in that older mindset of I need to see something in front of me or it's not there. And these people need professional organizers because the amount of paper in their life is overwhelming them. They feel like they have to keep every receipt for everything ever because they don't know that they can just go and like see their bank statements online. I have spent multiple sessions teaching women who wanted me to help them learn how to use Pinterest to save their ideas rather than saving every magazine and catalog they've ever gotten. And I'm telling you guys, this is what they wanted. Like, that is what they wanted from our time together, from our organizing session. So I think you guys will be like pleasantly surprised. Like, every client is so different, but I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how big of a difference you can make in 3 hours in their house or 4 hours in their house, whatever you choose to do. Because if you are just like there and you're committed to advancing their cause, whatever their cause is, like whatever their goals are, they're just going to be like over the moon about you. Like, the fact that you care about them and their stuff enough to sit there and go through it with them and help them at their pace, at something like that they can understand. And this has nothing to do with how old or young they are. Like, it just it's all a mindset thing. Debbie says, yes, I have a selfish me situation question, but maybe it will help others. On my website that is live but not advertised, I listed my $50 an hour in packages, and someone contacted me today and asked if I would barter. She is a photographer. Yes. I know I need a professional profile pic, but how many hours is reasonable to trade? I would do, how about this? So, I'm guessing you're saying she really wants you to come organize for her in her house. I'm assuming that that's what you're saying. How about this? Give her a whole session in exchange for, 30 minutes of her taking pictures of you that hopefully will turn out at least 3 good headshots. And also ask her if, after you guys are done organizing at her house for your 3-hour session, ask her to take like professional, like with her camera or whatever, pictures, before and after pictures of the job that you do there. I think that would be fair. I hope. See what she says. Lainey says, even the smallest improvements for these types of clients will be so appreciated by them. This is so true. This kind of work makes you irreplaceable to them. They are always looking for a friend and a loyal person. That is like, I couldn't agree more with Lainey. I feel like people do not want just anybody in their house, like touching their stuff and talking about the stories that go with these things. Like, you are not, and I'm not downplaying the role of a housekeeper, but a housekeeper can come in and clean no matter, I mean, it doesn't, you're not making life-changing decisions. When you are there with them and you're going through the process of decluttering, when you are helping them go through their parents' belongings and deciding like what needs to go to, you know, it's a very emotional, like heavy process. Like, it's not the same. Like, you can't just have somebody, you can't just, this is why the selling is so based on like the relationship and the connection that you build with them. Okay, Lainey, yes. Okay, Debbie likes my idea. Lainey likes my idea. Roche likes my idea, I think. Okay. Susan says, I traded for photos. It was very good for both of us. That's awesome. Got great shots. That's perfect. Lainey's got to go to sleep. There's still people here. I still have 17 people on here. Okay, so I'm going to do a wrap up, and we will start up again next week at same time, same place. Oh, and let me go ahead and tell y'all, if you're on here, Valentine's Day is in like 2 weeks, and I have a date, so I won't be doing Facebook Live. I don't think I'm going to have anybody substitute. I think we'll just probably skip that Tuesday. So mark that down on your calendar. Broken heart. I love you guys all. Thank you so much for coming and asking questions and having us talk like this. I think it's super fun. I'm somehow able to keep up with most of the conversations, but I'm so sorry I have to talk so fast because I want to talk to everybody and get to everybody. It means the world to me, you guys participating in the group. If you missed me saying this at the beginning, one of the things that I said was, the group has grown so fast, and there's so much momentum, and there's new people and new questions every single day, and I can't keep up with it the way that I want to all day long, but I see you guys that are helping each other and answering questions and pointing each other in the right direction, and I want you to know that I see that happening, and I appreciate it so much, because it means the world for you guys to like be helping each other and kind of just be supportive. I mean, that is great, and that is the kind of atmosphere I want, and I appreciate you guys just stepping up and helping contribute to that, because it is awesome. I hope you guys feel like you've learned something. If you feel like you've learned something, give me a thumbs up or let me know if this made you guys feel more confident in some area of your business. If you still have other questions, I will still be here to answer them, because I love talking about this and I think you guys are so much fun. So good night for now. We'll talk soon. Bye Amy, bye Roche, bye Goldie. Thank you so much, and y'all have a great night.